Welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is part 2 of the Imagimorphia, Kerby Rosanes Imagimorphia, and I'm on the pineapple page. So last time I coloured the pineapple in Inktense pencils, so I thought on this side I would do the Derwent Water Pencils, and they are very vibrant, and again you can mix 6 or 7 colours. I think there's 9 colours mixed together here. With 2 yellows, 2 blues, 2 greens, 2 browns, and a burnt umber. And I thought that would look quite good. I think there's another blue, I think, but you mix them together, just scribble little bits of colour and then blend them together with a paintbrush. And they're like butter. As soon as you put that paintbrush onto them, they just melt together, so they're really nice to work with. So I've found number 48 made green, and I'm going to zoom in because I want a watercolour effect on here, although I like the dark pineapple. So I've just put a little bit of colour here and none at the top. So if I slide this across carefully without making anybody sick, I did the same here. I put a little bit of colour in the middle, so a bit of scribbled pencil in the middle, and then when I activated it with water, I teased it out with my riggers, and that allows you to get a beautiful watercolour effect, which is completely flat. And I like working that way because you have, again, a tablespoon of water. I've actually got a kitchen roll today because somebody's run off with my baby wipes, so it's a piece of kitchen roll which is damp, and my riggers that I'm using. Bigger ones for bigger spaces, smaller ones, and the 010 liner for really tiny spaces, and that will allow you to manipulate the colour. But if you do a photocopy page, you get used to the amount of water to use and which size pencil to use, and how much colour to put down. So it's a good idea to have a bit of a play first. So that looks like the fox's tail, but this looks like it's the same kind of leaf. So I haven't even got it's very blunt is that, but I'm just very carefully scribbling a line. That's how quick it is. So I think there's a couple of very large leaves up here. I think I want these the same. So I have a bit of a look to see where the pale line is, but I normally put it by the spine. And then they've kind of got a bit of a darker area there, so and a little bit here, but where it's very dark I'm going to put another colour. So again, this leaf is behind. It's a bit difficult to do, but again, these Kerby Rosanes, once you've got 1 or 2 things coloured in, they lend themselves to kind of sort out where you want to be. So I can just get a tiniest amount of colour on here. Because I don't want too much. I want it to go to a really pale colour if I can get a nice natural watercolour effect. So again, following this one in, I think that would be the green, and then that would be the green, and there. So very, very roughly scratching colour in. They seem to be the different leaves. This is a kind of a bigger one, so again, follow that one into there. Sorry, he's wandering around with his collar on. A little bit in there, and possibly in there, and through there. So you've got to kind of have a bit of a nosy. And then behind here, but again, I'm going to colour that one in first before I do this one. So I'll leave that one out so I know it's that colour. In fact, I could do this now. So that's a palm tree colour. So again, if I'm not sure what I want, top of my trusty little piece of paper, scribble a little bit on there, and then activate it and think, you know, is that going to be a palm tree colour? And if I really can't make my mind up, I look in my little book, because I have all 72 colours, and I have a look at my colour swatches and use it as a normal colour swatch, thinking, whereabouts do I want this to be? So I want a palm tree colour, but those are going to be quite pale. So I think I'm going to go with a sap green. So I can either look for the number, which is number 49, and I've got my pencils in my little trusty Derwent pencil organizer, which is a lot easier to use, and your pencils don't get damaged because they all sit quite safe. So I wanted sap green, and again, I don't have a point on it, but I don't need a point. Alfie, come here. Good boy. Actually, he was being good, but I thought he was being naughty. Come here. Good boy. You're going to sit under there, please. Thank you. No, he's going to do anything but go under there. So again, if I'm not sure, I'll just test it. So apologies about bad puppy behaviour, but they're just behaving badly. So again, I'm going to put a little bit on the spine, and then tease the colour out. So, I don't want him to go over there. Come here, please. Alfie, come here. Come here, please. Get under there, please, and behave yourself. Thank you. Under there and behave yourself. Can't get the chair near the thing now. Goodness gracious me. Right, I think that little puppy's going to put his sack up for Christmas. There's going to be nothing in it but gas vouchers. That's another thing I used to tell my little girls. If they were naughty, we'd get gas vouchers because we didn't have a coal fire. There's that one, there's that one. Sometimes you've just got to concentrate a little bit on this. So I've just put the tiniest little scratch of colour on there. Now I do want to kind of manipulate that. Having said that, I'm going to use the number 3 because no, I'm going to use this one. I've got to have a point to get into these fine spaces, but I do want to manipulate it, so I'm using the Pro Art ones, which are a little bit longer, and I do stroke it a little bit to get that extra water off, because these are like butter once that you wet them. So I'm going to do this top one here. So I'm going to kind of manipulate the colour, and I kind of want it pale. I can go into it later if I want, but I just want a little bit of a pale effect. So I kind of keep going back to that spine to activate that colour. And that is extremely pale, but it's fine. So I can take this one down here. And unlike the Intense, it doesn't matter what you do now, because you can take that up to there, and then you can manipulate it up here, because it's always going to be waterproof, watertight. It's always going to react to water, sorry. So every time you touch that green, it will still become a watercolour. It'll dry out, but it'll always be activated with water. So, if you get a line on it, you can actually go back in. So I've got a real natural highlight under there. I don't know who's on next. I'll probably be on. I think Emma's normally on sometime in the afternoon. But thank you for joining me. I don't know off the top of my head. I should know. It is Thursday, so Emma normally comes on about tea time. But I haven't heard anything, so I don't know what time she's on. But somebody normally tells me. Because when Emma comes on, I go off. I do the same with Dee Dee. I just keep going. And then if Dee Dee doesn't come on, I just keep going till tea time. So I'm just going to, because I record, that's when I do my recording for my YouTube people, which are wonderful and will be watching later, hopefully. So if anybody knows who else is on, just pop the link in and then everybody can tell. But I think on a Thursday, Thursday afternoons, Emma comes on, doesn't she? Oh, right. If Emma's not streaming today, then I just keep going. I just keep going. Probably another couple of hours for me, I think. I want to finish this page. I want to finish this page with the watercolours. So I'm going to tease all that colour out of there. I mean, you don't have to do it like this. You can do it flat colour. I'm only putting this one in because I want to get to that one and I couldn't see where it was. So the reason is I've just changed and done this particular one. And again, sometimes with the Kerby Rosanes, it's a good idea to do that. Pick off what you can see, and then sometimes behind it will sort out what you can't see, because I want to do this one. But I'm not sure which leaves are what, so as soon as I've done that. So thanks for joining me. I hope you all have a pleasant afternoon and morning, or whatever time it is on the planet where you are. I normally stream most mornings impromptu, but on a Tuesday at 2 o'clock London Greenwich Mean Time, which is possibly between 8 and 10 US time, depending on where you are. So again, I'm going to put a little bit more colour in there. I'll do the next leaf first. But I do kind of stream nearly every day from 9:10ish, where I record my YouTube videos because they're easier to upload. The disadvantage is you get the dogs barking, because not very savvy of actually getting the editing for the Ustream. The editing for YouTube, but it used to take me hours and hours. So but the advantage is they are longer videos, so swings and roundabouts. But most things are not rehearsed. I just kind of walk in the studio and decide to do whatever I'm doing. So thanks for joining us, Dorothy. I'm just going to put a little bit more of that colour in the bottom because it's just, that one's a bit pale. So I'm going to put a little bit on the other side of the spine carefully. And then going with my long rigger and just just tease that colour down. And that will help me with the leaf behind it now, so I can actually see that this leaf kind of goes right round there and right down there. So all that is going to be this green leaf. And sometimes you have to do that with the Kerby Rosanes. So we know that that is going to be yellow and this is going to be yellow. But it may be quite a pale, doesn't have to be. And I'll probably go in there. I'm going to do that a little bit darker because it's behind everything. And so it would naturally be like that. But the other thing I can do, and I'll probably do this one first, is I'll activate this particular one. See, they're just like butter, they just melt into colour. They are beautiful to work with. And very quick. Again, something else I like. Cheap and cheerful and quick. Now, it's about, I think they're about £70 or £80 for the full set of 72. But, you know, you don't have to have the full set. You can have or ask different people. That's what I used to do, is ask for money for Christmas and birthdays. I'm not really a clothes person, so I used to ask for pennies. So, again, if you want intense colour, and again you do need a bit of a damp brush because these do activate very quickly, so you can get some really nice deep colour in there. And in fact, I think this leaf goes to there. So again, sometimes you can just see the extra colour. And then you can decide what's going to pop out where. So again, I'm just going to do this because I want to go in here. Oopsie. You know, if you're going to have a deep colour, you've got to know where it's going. So I've got a bit of a natural highlight on that, quite like that. And that was a little bit wet. You've got to be a little bit careful not to get them too wet. And then of course we can go down it again. That's a bit wet. It's got to be a damp brush. Sorry, that's the puppy under the table. He's under the desk. I quite like this really, really pale colour actually. But if you didn't like it, you could always change it. You don't have to have... I like a bigger brush because you can just manoeuvre it about just that little bit better. And I think I was going to put a different colour in here, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the colour, because I think that's going to be quite pale. And again, you can go in here and tease that colour up there to give a natural highlight. But you can put all sorts of colours in. You can splatter colours in, you can scrape colours in. You know, you can do what you want really with this particular. And I think if we follow that behind here, we'll find that this is the leaf. We hope, because I've done it now. So we think that could be the leaf in there, and in there. So that's kind of found the lollipop, and it's found, I think that's the other side of the leaf. So we've got 2 leaves done now. And so I was just stroking this colour out. And I thought these would be good. Now this is a very pale one, this one, so I might put a little bit more colour in, I think. But again, sometimes I don't work this pale, so it's quite nice, again, to find a different way of working. You've got to keep it fairly dry because you'll get a crinkle, and we don't really want a crinkle. So I should push that around. Now this is a very pale colour, so obviously it's going to be pale all the way around, but if it was a deeper colour, I quite like that pale colour, and that's working okay. So when I finish this, I'm hoping it's going to take me about an hour. There's a lot of intricate spaces, but you know, it's going to be just pencil scribble, so we should be fine. So I wanted to highlight, but I did want something else on there, but I have forgotten this area here, which is the back of the leaf. So it goes behind there, but we can't see it because there's another leaf there. So we have this little leaf here, and it's just a case of going about and picking these leaves off. There's another one here, and I do have a little bit of green on my brush already, so I can tease that colour up there to give a very, very, very pale green leaf. So I used to stream Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then because Tuesdays I can't do earlies because I'm at the Abbey and I haven't been able to go for a few weeks, but I managed to go. But it takes me about a week to recover. So I quite like this pale. It's a very pale colour, but I'm quite enjoying it, and I think, you know, there's going to be some quite vivid colours in here, so I'm sure it's not going to completely disappear into nothing. Again, if you just put that colour a little bit stronger, you get a nice So we've sorted those really big leafy ones out, and then I'm a bit of a coward. I kind of do the next ones, the curly ones. I get these out of the way. So I like the fern colours for those. I haven't really got a fern. I wonder if I could do that. That was May Green, wasn't it? And that was Sap Green. So I think I might do them Cedar. I think I'll do those Cedar Green, I think. So we'll put that one away, and we'll put May Green away. So again, I can put the paintbrush down and then just follow just the spine and where it would be a little bit darker, I think. And again, you can scribble. I'll probably do all that under there. But remember, you can go back with your paintbrush by touching the end of the paper. If you want it really dark. This is kind of morphed out of here. And then these are kind of morphing. And again, you can push this colour wherever you want it. So again, we've got a bit of a morphy going on there. That's a pale one, so we need that May Green out because we found another one. So if we very carefully get that one in, that's one less to worry about. He's kind of just in there now. There seems to be quite a lot of these curls. Oh, that goes up here, look, so take that up there, don't we? And then there's one here. I don't know what that is. And then it kind of goes up here then, doesn't it? This could be one of those. And then up here we've got this one that kind of so if you just do short of the line, you can manipulate that to give a natural highlight. And again, there's another one here, so there's quite a few of these. So again, once you've got all these green leaves kind of sorted out, you end up with quite a good idea of what's about. Now these are different again, these, so they want to be something else. So I'm going to follow that round, and this one here. So you're just literally scribbling a little bit of colour about. But it's a good idea to stay inside the lines, because you can manipulate the colour through the line to the line, but you can't take it back out. So always be a bit short rather than, if you can help it. So they're a different green again. That's one of those, and that's one of those. I think we've actually got them all. Nope, there's one. Oh, that's the end of that one. So that was the sap green, wasn't it? Yeah, I just left that one a little bit. So, damp brush. Just tease that into there. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know what the bark alert's for. There shouldn't be any bark. He's obviously dreaming, so I do apologise. Oh, bye, Mountain Dreamer. Oh, wonderful. Bake some for me. Hope you have a pleasant afternoon or morning, depending on where you are. So I'm just going to stroke the colour through here. And this is possibly a little bit wetter than I'd like, but I've got a really nice highlight on there. And then I can take that behind, because there is another one behind there and I've missed it. So again, I can just manipulate that up to there. And that's kind of... So that wanted a little bit of that cedar colour behind there. Just a little bit. And we could just touch the end of here. And I could just manipulate that colour a bit more. And under here. Because this one needs to kind of take shape. Again, just teasing that colour, and they really do just kind of melt almost instantly into colour, and you don't get any harsh lines because you can just manoeuvre it around exactly where you want it. Which is always good. Just tease that colour. So they're really nice and easy to work with. See, I've never done this before, but it seems to be working okay with the highlights. So I do like these, I have to say. I quite like these again. So it's quite nice when you find a new way to work with your supplies. It's I was very surprised at how easy they are to use. So we've got a couple under here. And then this one, so I'm not sure what the other one is particularly. Is it? I don't know what it is. This one's behind here, so we can get this one. And this is how we'll do the Kerby Rosanes. I find it the easiest is to get all the plants and the flowers coloured in, and then you can see what's behind everything else. It just makes it that bit easier. So I think, apart from the two up here, I've finished that one. So thank you everybody for joining me. This is a live stream with live people, and recorded for Ustream.tv and also YouTube for people to watch at their leisure. So thank you all your YouTubers for watching my long videos. They are quite long. And you can always fast forward them to the beginning and the end. Quite like that area, and again it's kind of sorted it out because there is an owl there now. So I'm going to do these little, I normally do them of orangey colour, so I'm going to pick, I did leave the sap green out for a reason, I can't remember now. The cedar green, nope, can't remember. I'll put it away because I can't remember why I left it out. I think it's this one I was going to do some more work on, but I'll finish off the rest of it first and then I can go back in and play. So I kind of want an orangey colour. That burnt orange is quite nice, but orange chrome is pretty, and middle chrome, they could be kind of, maybe that burnt one looked quite nice. Burnt orange, now they would be quite nice, burnt orange. So I'm going to get the burnt orange, which I should have actually had a look for because it's down here, isn't it? Burnt orange. Oh, it's not a Derwent, that one. It's an Albert Dürer. It's on the wrong page. Oh well, serves me right. So we need, I think they can be yellower and they can be an orangey colour. So I like the deep chrome colour. I think we'll have deep chrome. And again, there is some colour in there, so I don't have to bother. So I'm going to put a little bit in the centre. Oh, I didn't want to put any on the stamen, but again, just didn't see past. And that colour, and a little bit kind of there, and you want it to almost match. So you can, when you tease the colour out, you're going in the right direction. So again, just a damp brush, and again, really tease all that colour out of there, that water. You just want a damp brush. Just tease a little bit out. And then tease it back in. So again, just tease a little bit out. and tease the rest in. And then you get a really lovely highlight. So just teasing that colour down. And then teasing that colour back in. And again, you can tease that colour down. Tease that colour back in. Tease that colour down there and then tease it back in. Now that's going to be a bit too strong, if I think it might work if I go behind there. So you've got a really nice highlight there. And then if you really want to kind of get some more... Hi Suzanne, welcome to Bunny's Designs. I'm colouring in the Kerby Rosanes book with... that's a little bit too wet, is that? Possibly the tiny brush, I think. And just teasing that colour to either go into here sorry about him puddling around. I liked it as it was actually. So I've teased some colour, just if I can tease a little bit out of there. I've teased some colour in that one. These I want to be a little bit kind of oranger, so that was the chrome. I quite fancy this chrome orange. So chrome orange would be for these flowers here. So a little bit here. And there's some here. Just a little bit of pencil in there. Oops. And there. Sometimes they're all hidden all over the place. And I've got a different kind of green under there as well. Oh, there's a little one there, look. And then there's a little one there. And wasn't there one under here somewhere? Yes, another snake. So we've got to pick some good colours for the snake. Oh, and now here is another one. And I think we found them all. Found them all. So I'm going to use I'll use number 3 rigger, I think so, for that one. So welcome to Bunny's Designs. I'm zoomed in the Kerby Rosanes pineapple page, and I'm just going to tease a little bit of colour up to there, and then kind of tease that out a little bit. And they don't need a lot of colour, these, to just activate this. So this particular brush is just about the right size. Very damp, very damp. Sorry, just damp, very dry, almost dry. That's how dry you want to be to activate these Derwent pencils, but I say they just kind of melt like butter into the most amazing colours. And then I can get this really deep colour here and kind of manipulate that round the snake. And there's a little one down here. And a little bit just to take off that stark white. And that's fairly quick. You know, you've gotten quite a few flowers in a few minutes. You can just almost to nothing and then drop down and manipulate that colour. So that was fairly quick, quite like that. So there's a dragonfly, so he can be kind of some really bright turquoisey colours. There's a Mr. Fox there, so I think we can do Mr. Fox next. There's some bluebells. There's two lots of bluebells, so again we can get those done. I think we'll use, oh, there's a kingfisher blue, which would be nice for the dragonfly. Sky blue is possibly too pale for the bluebells, but there's a bit of a purpley blue. Looks like French ultramarine, looks quite nice, but I think I'll do number 30, smalt blue. Looks quite nice, but I'll just give a bit of a tester just to see what we've got. I think that'd be quite a nice little blue that. So again, now there isn't any pencil on there at all, so I am going to actually sharpen this one. So I've got my Derwent sharpening guard, so I'll zoom out a bit and you can see just a little bit because I don't know. So you put your pencil on the guard and then you push it up to the little plastic edge there, so you can hold it away from you. It has a rubber guard, so you can actually put it flat, and then you get your blade. Now, as I say, I would have possibly said use a Stanley knife because they're safer, because you can put the guard down and they don't snap as much as these scalpel blades do. But use what you're most comfortable with. So I kind of scroll down until I get the wood off. I don't take it to a point actually. I just take the wood off very carefully, so I don't waste any of the blue strip, or I try not to. So I've got quite a lot of colour there of the blue strip, and it's quite blunt, but there is a bit of a wedge on it. There's always a little bit of a wedge. And I put the blade down and put the guard away, and I just pick the fattest section. I've left a little bit there, but I pick the fattest section, and I just want a little bit of colour scribbled on each one. So that's all I'm doing, is just scribbling. And then there's some bluebells down here, and again I'm just gonna scribble. So I've scribbled that little bit of colour in there. I can't see any others, so I can put my number 30 pencil away. I'm going to take number 3, Daily Round number 3 rigger. And I'm actually going to turn the page so these are away from me, because what I want to do is activate that blue and push it all the way to the very edge. Now, I possibly needed a little bit more, but we'll see. Again. And because they are so vibrant, you can activate one and then bring it back, because it's so vibrant, and a bit of pale on the end there, bring it back, because these are so vibrant. And then when you turn that round, you're going to have a really nice highlight on there. And the little ones at the top, again, clean brush, only just damp, activate just a tiny amount and then stroke back the colour to be dark. Activate a little bit at the top and then stroke back down to be dark. Again, activate a little bit at the top and then stroke that about. There we go. And that's done. That's quick. Seems to be some different leaves. Oh, we have a nice deep, there's a mineral green. I think we'll use mineral green, which is number 45. I think the little ones we could have mineral green. These particular ones up here. So we can do these quite dark, with a dark stem. So again, I'm just scribbling some colour in. Actually, that's a tree, so that wants to be brown. You want to morph into brown, don't they? So this one can be green as well. And I kind of pick out all these, and then when I've kind of done all this, I can see a little bit better what's going on. So there's one up here, and they can be done as well. So you don't have to go to the edges, you just need to scribble a little bit of colour in there. And here's a bit more of that particular I would like a little bit of that there. And there seems to be, I don't know what colour to do with those. I might do those a different colour. I think I'll just colour those in for a second. There'll be some more here, look. They're going to be a different colour as well. So we'll put those in next. I might do those, could do those orangey red. So I'll just get rid of number 45. Put this over and have a quick look at more of a crimson lake would look quite nice probably. So again, I'm just going to put a little bit at the top of each one. So we can tease that colour down and get a natural, a really kind of natural there's only 3, so we'll activate. They are a bit small though, so I'll probably use the number 1 rigger, and again just the smallest amount of colour and then back up to the top, smallest amount of colour and then back up. Oops, there was not too much colour under there, but never mind. Again, this can be a bit darker because it's under there. And then just the smallest amount of colour and then back up to activate the rest. Tiniest amount of colour, activate the rest, and then go back into. So you give yourself a really natural highlight, so you just want a little bit of colour and then back up there to mix that. And they do really mix just like butter, they're really gorgeous to use like this. Tease that into there. Then I'll clean the brush because I want a very pale little bit of colour for highlight, and then activate that back again. Then this one, a little tiny bit of colour, back up to activate those. I missed one, and that's done. It is Suzanne. I think was it Dorothy? Oh no, who was it? Let me just have a look. Somebody put the link up for it earlier. It's Amazon.com, and it's Derwent Pencil Sharpening Stand. And you can buy it with a sharpener. But I would buy a Stanley knife and use a Stanley knife, because that's probably a bit safer, because you can shut a Stanley knife up because the blades don't don't splinter. Because I've had these scalpel blades, I've had them fly across the room, and if that goes into you anywhere, not good. But the Stanley knives have the knives in the handle and they're retractable, so once it's away, straight away, you know, you can drop it on your foot, do what you like with it. And the blades are a lot thicker, so they've got less chance of actually breaking. So I would personally use those. I did have a bright orange one, but it's disappeared. I've drawn on here and forgotten to colour them in. So again, I'm using this number 3 Daily Round, rigger number 1, I beg your pardon, because it's a little bit thinner, because these are small spaces. But I want to kind of have maybe a flat leaf, perhaps this time here, kind of a bit of a flat, but they're just like butter. You can just activate them and stroke them exactly where you want them, so they behave themselves extremely well. And I'd forgotten about using them like this, so it's nice to remember a different way. And this has enabled me to change the way I colour. I can actually do bigger spaces, because I can do backgrounds in bigger spaces and still work fairly dry. Whereas I was a bit restricted before. So I used them in the Kerby Rosanes picture last week. I think it was last week. Where I scribbled them on bigger spaces, but they just work wonderful on there. Yes, and that's a cat moving about on the other table. Because she's decided she's bored. So I'm doing quite well actually. Although I think it's going to be another hour, so I'll just pan out. Yes, it does. It does, Suzanne. Suzanne says have a heavy-duty Stanley knife because you can use it for lots of other things, and you can cut with it with a metal bard on your cutting mat. And they take, you push down with them. They're very precise, but you can retract them immediately, so they're definitely out of anybody's way. Because a toddler can pick a Stanley knife up if the blade's inside it, and it's very unlikely they'll be able to open it. So they're even child safety. I wouldn't advise it, but if they, what they're like for getting their hands on things. So that's the two different ones. There's the Inktense activated and the Derwent watercolor pencils. That was just a little bit too much. So you can see what we've done today. So they're still quite vibrant. They're not pale at all. And yet you can get the palest colours if you really want. So I do like working with these. So I'm going to call this the end of part 2, I think. And then at the final part we'll be able to finish it off. So thank you for watching.